stars who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Almost live from Hollywood. It's the Wow Report here on Radio Andy SiriusXM. Welcome. I'm here this week, as I am every week, with the beautiful James St. James.
The beautiful. Nobody's called me beautiful in 20 years.
But it's true. You should hear it.
Oh.
I forgot. I'm Tom Campbell, sitting in for Fenton, or doing the hosting duties for Fenton, who our fearless leader, who is away on assignment. Making money so we can work here at World of Wonder.
It's true. We can't bitch.
And our extra special guest, snatched from behind the camera, who's usually sort of on his phone or giving us the wrap-up sign, it's Blake Jacobs!
Hi. And we can't wait to give you the wrap-up signal today.
I'm still gonna be like this, guys.
But you aren't going to do it to yourself, I guarantee it.
Well, I have those short ones, so
yes,
we'll be good.
And this has been a jam-packed week. There's so many things that we can't even fit onto the top 10. Kylie Jenner had her baby.
Oh my God! Oh,
the SpaceX rocket
Elon Musk
took off and landed,
and then they put the car in space. It was just David Bowie. It's
and
just crazy.
And the stock market has crashed, and it's back up where it's crashed. I don't know what time it is today.
Girl, my 401k is gone.
But none of that compares to the amazing things that made us go wow this week. Starting with number 10.
Number 10.
There's a new show on, you guys. It's called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
I watched it.
I did too. I
refused.
Oh, I love this. I'm going to start because I think I have personally, not professionally, because it's a very good show and I want people to watch it. But look, I have as a gay man with a huge ego who works in television, I have a complicated personal relationship with Queer Eye.
Yeah, sure.
When it first came out, it did so much. When you think of it in the big picture, it was the first time that Americans
was it though
got to see gay people who said out loud, "I'm queer." They weren't Uncle Arthur. They weren't, Charles Nelson Raleigh. They weren't just skirting around the issue that they were gay.
Didn't we already have Ellen, and didn't we already have Will and Grace, and didn't we already have Buffy? Tara on Buffy.
I would say that Will's played by a straight person. Ellen was straight for half of her.
Yeah. Well, I think
time.
what was good on the show last night that they said was like the last one was fighting for tolerance, and this show they're fighting for equality.
Yes.
No, they were acceptance.
Acceptance or equality. I like that.
Okay, keep going.
But just like, and even Carson Kressley, who I've grown to know personally because he's a judge on RuPaul's Drag Race, and they won Emmys. It wasn't just a show; it was a cultural juggernaut. It launched Bravo. Bravo kind of wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Queer Eye. If it's self-loathing, if it's my own internalized homophobia, it's like, when there's one gay show, suddenly it's like, is that me? Am I that queer? And the other criticism,
I think that's it. I didn't see myself in any of them.
There you go. And it's like how unfair in a way, because this is me talking to me, that one show needs to represent every gay person that's ever walked the face of the earth. The other complaint in the past, and I guess, is that we were it's a show. It's kind of a show with gay people for straight people,
right?
Because it's kind of we're in service, right? We're in the service industries,
and there was a dance monkey dance feel to it, like sort of like,
yes,
you're a gay person, you gotta be extra gay, and you gotta come in and gay up the
yes, yeah. But with all that trepidation, and then I started reading the reviews, and they're saying, "Oh my God, this new Netflix Queer Eye," which is I like that they rebooted, but they recast, because some of these reboots are getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah,
it's sort of like, they're bringing back Murphy Brown, and I love Murphy Brown, and I don't.
They're bringing back Cagney and Lacey, but we really
don't
need 89-year-old. Yes,
maybe it'll be good, but anyway, I just want to introduce the guys by name. Antoni Porowski, who looks kind of like John Mayer. He's kind of the heartthrob.
He's the hottest one. He's the food guy, right?
Yes.
He was so cute.
And that's, again, the way the gay people watch. We really want to fall in love. So then there's Bobby Burke, who's the design specialist. He's blonde. Then there's Jonathan Van Ness, who has that long hair, who is part of the Funny or Die Game of Thrones.
He does Game of Thrones.
Yes.
He's hysterical on that.
And he's the most flamboyant.
He's the queer. And
he's the Carson Kressley of this one.
If you will. And then there's also Karamo Brown, who I guess was in the Real World Philadelphia. I stopped watching the Real World about 20 years ago. And then there's France, the Pakistani fashion master.
He's sort of handsome.
He is handsome. And, you know, at first, you know, you watch it first, and I'm all judgmental. And I'm like, they don't pop like the other ones pop. There's just too many gays on television now. It's like, by the end, I was like, they're pretty charismatic. They did a nice job casting it.
I know, and the guy, he kind of reminded me of my Uncle Bubba.
He kind of reminded me of you
Oh,
if
shut
you
up.
age badly. You're hot now, don't get me wrong. But it was the theme of the first episode, which is all we've got a chance to watch, and they're all on Netflix, is you can't fix ugly. And so I'm watching, and part of me, again, because I am like an evil television watcher.
Well,
Because
you're
I'm like,
also working reality television,
Yes.
so you know what's really going on.
and I kept thinking, is a process show that lasts an hour really going to hold? Because, you know, we just know what's going to happen. We're on our phones. We get information in, you know, half headlines, you know. And there were certain parts where they're cutting the hair and stuff, and I thought, oh, it's a little slow. But I cried.
Yeah, when he started crying, it was kind of like, I know, I felt the same way, but when you're watching it,
He's this big Bubba. He's got this big beard. He's got lupus, which gives him red in his skin. And it's more than the gay straight thing, which is important and it is a dynamic of the show. All these makeup shows, when they're cast well, it's about people, men or women. And we don't see that many men who just don't feel pretty, who don't feel loved, who don't feel like any attention has been paid them. All right, now you go.
This is my whole problem with makeover culture in general. And I work at World of Wonder. I understand its importance.
Transformations.
No. But Transformations is the anti of what I'm about to say.
Transformations is the show that James does, which she'll explain.
Yeah, because the idea that you take these perfectly lovely people, they might have 80s hair, they might be old hippies, they might still be wearing their raver outfits from the 90s,
right?
And you say you're wrong and we need to update your look. I hate that. Let these wonderful, quirky people be themselves, and don't try and change them, and don't modernize them, and don't take them to Macy's and give them a makeover in which they end up looking like drab like everybody else on TV. I hate that. I love the idea that there's still individuals in the world, and I hate people who come in and say, we're going to change you, and we're going to make you over, and we're going to make you better, and because you aren't going to be better. You're going to take away the quality that is you. And that Bubba be Bubba, goddammit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well,
you know?
but apparently he felt that there was something.
Because the only reason he felt that there was something was wrong because people like this are coming on.
He had 5 gay guys ganging up against him.
He's saying that you're wrong and we've got to change you.
It's a little, maybe that is the undertone, but it's a little more subtle in how it's presented. Because, that's the wrap-up sign. That's what we see.
That's what we see
and ignore
time.
every time.
You keep going.
What if
I've got more to say.
Let's use you, Blake, as example. What if I said, Blake, I want to keep your beard, but I want to take it down on the sides and I want to square it off like Ulysses S. Grant? What if I changed his glasses to a slightly wider rim?
Would you?
What if I gave him a green
but
stick?
I don't think I need a makeover.
All right, girl. You know what? Because the sexiest thing, it's confidence. That's what I learned on the first
Did he
episode.
sign up for himself, or
his daughter, who looked like Lena
See,
Dunham.
there it
did.
is. There it is, right there. And that's my problem with every single one. You know, yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I feel good that I got off I expressed my self-loathing and tried to get that out. James hasn't seen. 2 people who have seen Queer Eye for the Straight Guy on Netflix say.
I'll watch another episode.
Thumbs up.
But I just wish that my problem with the first one too was that it there wasn't enough queer for the Queer Eye. You know, I mean, I want more representation. I don't. They all seem to be of the same.
Well, there's a little more
gay.
color now. There's a little more diversity.
But is there a drag queen on there? Is there a club kid on there?
No,
is there a freak on there?
No, but we'll be pitching a show with you in about an hour and a half.
I'm still angry because I was brought in for Queer Eye for the Straight Girl, and I didn't get it.
We broke the final. We broke the story here. All right, we have to move on. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. It's new. It's on Netflix. It's streaming now. But let's move on to number 9.
Number 9.
James St. James.
Number 9, there's a new boy band out called Pretty Much. I don't know if you've heard of them. Do you know of them?
Is it one word?
Yeah, one word, all
Pretty
caps.
much.
I
Pretty
know
much.
of them because of you.
Well, okay, it's been 8 long years since we've had a boy band, to set the world on fire.
Not Korean.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. But I mean, I'm talking One Direction was the last time.
All right.
These boys, there's 5 of them. They are under the tutelage of Simon Cowell, who created them and discovered them, and has put them all in a house together to learn the dance moves and to learn to harmonize and everything like that. And I'm thinking he's thinking that there's a reality show in it if the pop thing doesn't work out. Right. So they're all living together in this house, and they were last year. They performed on the VMAs. I don't know if you remember. There was an outdoor thing when Logan Paul was, and he would cut to them every once in a while, and they performed, and they were just god awful. They were terrible.
Aww.
They couldn't. I mean, they were trying to do that boy band dance where they were, like all, and they couldn't do it, and they were like it was like a cat on a meat hook is what they. I mean, that was the sound. Pretty much. Exactly. It was terrible. And now they performed on Good Morning America last week. We have it on the Wow Report, and they've got it down, and they're pretty slick, and they're
One
good.
year later, they got the moves.
Yeah, they've got the moves. There's 5 of them. There's Brandon, who is the one most likely to go solo. He's the Harry Styles of the group.
Is he the long-haired one?
No. There's Nick, who is the boy's boy. Okay, he's sort of like like the Marky Mark of who is the Marky Mark's brother?
Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
He's the Donnie Wahlberg of the group. There's Zion, who is the ethnically ambiguous one. Okay. There's Austin, who is the ugly one with the weird hair. There's always the one with the weird hair there, who's just there to harmonize.
What's weird about his hair?
He's
Is it
just,
dreadsy?
No. It's just it's bleach blonde with really
kind of,
bad.
yes,
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah. And then there's Edwin, who is the Zane of the group. He's the dreamy one with the puppy dog eyes.
Now, in this day and age, do we know? Because boy band members are often there's a gay or two in there.
There isn't, and therein lies the problem too. Because you would think and that is my problem too, that you would need sort of a pretty boy, sort of a sexually ambiguous
Bass,
one.
things of that nature.
And they don't have one, and I'm wondering if we're sort of we're post that, we don't need that anymore, or whether it's just because it's the whole idea is for girls and boys to project onto these,
everybody,
and to fall in love with them. And there isn't a gay one yet. I don't think, and I don't think there will be because they're all boys.
I did watch a short video of 9 things you need to know about Pretty Much.
Well, that's there was on TRL,
and they didn't seem none of them. I was waiting to see if
there was a little list for a little, something, and there wasn't because they're all pretty rough and tough and tumble.
Pretty much.
They did it. It was on TRL, and they did which one is and it's like which one is most likely to wear his robe all day long, and then which one has
the long-haired one,
and which one has the stinkiest farts, and which one leaves food in the refrigerator past its expiration date.
I bet you it's all the same guy. Bathrobe farts, old food.
The long-haired guy.
Right.
I hate to ask, but what about their music?
Well, that's beside the point.
Is there a catchy song? I feel like artists break now with albums and a whole plate of songs. I need a hit single. I need something that hooks me in. I'm old school. Is there such a song?
They have a song that they performed on Good Morning America that is very standard boy band.
I like things standard.
Is that No More?
Yeah, I think so, and it's
more?
good. It is good, but you have to watch them in order to appreciate the song. They don't just. I'm sure they're on Radio Disney at this point and everything, but they don't have a hit on top 40 yet.
Well, this is an aside, but it's sort of related. I've been reading an interview on I think Vulture with Quincy Jones, whose 85th birthday, and he's just been going off.
Oh, yes,
and
he
doesn't
has
been. And someone asked him about the Beatles.
Wait, someone was shooting up in their testicles.
I missed that one, but they asked him about the Beatles. He goes, "What do you think of the Beatles?" He goes, "They were terrible musicians. They were no playing band." And then he tells a story of how Ringo. He said Paul McCartney couldn't play the guitar at the beginning anyway, and that Ringo couldn't get the simple drum thing, so they sent him to have lunch, and they brought in somebody else to do it, and they played it back for him when he got back, and it was Ringo goes, "That sounds pretty good." They're like, "You're right. Let's move on." So maybe the Beatles, who we think are the best musicians and the best band of all time, have all these dark secrets. So everything we see, they can't dance, they'll be huge.
Yeah. Well, no, the Beatles had to grow into being the Beatles. You know what I mean? You had there had to be a gestation period.
Yeah.
And I think that right now we are witnessing the gestation of Pretty Much before they take over the world.
I couldn't help but think when the Beatles, they used to scream when they played, they must have been so happy because they couldn't play very well. All right. Well, it's called Pretty Much. It's one word.
All caps.
All caps. Stream them. Listen to them.
Oh my God, Edwin! I love you so much. Edwin actually, hold on. Edwin is the one. He has these big curls, these big sausage curls, that sort of cascade down his face.
That's who I thought had the funky hair, but that's cute hair.
Yeah, that's Edwin right there.
All right.
But then he just shaved it all off, and he's like completely bald right now, which is so unattractive.
All right. And on that note, we will move on to number 8. Blake.
Number 8.
Did you guys know that Lana Del Rey almost got kidnapped?
What?
What?
Yes. She was at her concert. Well, she never came into contact with the guy. And guess what his name was?
What?
Okay, you know,
Blake
like
Jacobs?
No. You know, like on The Simpsons, they would prank call and be like, "Is Anita Man there?"
Yeah.
This guy's name is Mike Hunt.
Oh no! Not really.
It's Michael Hunt.
His parents had a creepy sense of humor.
I don't know.
You call that you leave that at the restaurant when they call your name for the reservation.
I'm looking for Mike Hunt.
Yeah, Mike Hunt, party of 6, Mike Hunt.
Well, he apparently is a disturbed man. I was a huge fan of Lana Del Rey back in the day. I mean,
you still were.
Is she a past tense artist now? Have we moved? Are we post Lana Del Rey?
I still am, but like her first albums were so much better than the new ones, in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair.
But he is still just like obsessed with her. Well,
tell us more, Blake.
Police in Orlando were acting on a credible threat, arrested a man outside of Lana Del Rey's concert Saturday night. This was in Orlando.
Nothing good happens in Orlando.
Nope. He was outside Orlando's Amway Center.
Amway? You mean like
That must be the name of the concert venue.
Yeah. Yeah. The
they
Amway
were like, Atlanta isn't selling Amway now.
Brushes, no.
Hey, how far she's fallen.
He put on his Instagram, I want to see my queen on Friday, and from that day forward, our decisions will be as one. He said, I'm going to probably finish out the tour with her, obviously, and dance and talk and figure out what we're going to do.
Lana and Mike Hunt.
Yeah. That kind of post can trigger the police coming after you because I have to delete a lot of posts.
I was going to say, I just did a whole about pretty much right there.
Yeah.
We will be one.
Well, I don't think that this was his first
Okay.
time. He had been incarcerated 5 times, including burglary, grand theft auto, grand theft with firearm, and forgery, and he was caught with a knife outside of the
All right.
concert venue.
We laugh about this because we're dummies, but what a horrible thing to be in the public eye. And you don't hear about these things. They probably happen more often
Oh,
than
I'm
we
sure
know.
every single famous person has a story of, weird
at least
stalkers
one.
and
Right.
Any idea how they found him or caught him or what the tip-off was? Just for people who want to stalk celebrities, let's find out a way for them. This is what you don't do.
It just says they acting on a credible threat.
Tell me, Lana Del Rey, isn't her famous line, "My pussy tastes like Pepsi-Cola"? Isn't
Yes.
that the
And
lyric?
you always
That's
say,
the
my
lyric.
pussy tastes like
Barbacoa.
What's that?
It's from Chipotle.
Oh God! No, and I didn't, and maybe you don't know this, but didn't she say that she no longer will say that lyric?
Oh,
Did
she
you hear
did
about this?
after something happened with something.
Is it the Me Too
didn't
and
hear
the
this.
women and?
No, it was because.
But people did say that they
Kesha?
thought that song was about Harvey Weinstein.
That's what it was. Yes, that's a line that yes, it has something to do with Harvey Weinstein. That's all I know. And so she says that she won't sing it anymore in solidarity with the women
All right,
of the Me Too
I
movement.
get it. I'm just bad because we talked about memory before the show started, and I always feel like I have little Tupperware compartments, and I put information in them, and like Lana Del Rey is right next to your pussy tastes like Pepsi-Cola, so it's hard for me. Like those go really close together, so I'm gonna have to take out Pepsi-Cola pussy and just I don't know what's another Lana summer. She had a summer song,
Summertime Sadness.
Summertime Sadness. I love the remix.
Yes.
I'm hip. I keep up. Well, thank you, Blake. Excellent story.
You're welcome.
We are ready to take a little break here. This is usually when I throw to our producer, Blake, behind the camera, to give us a trivia question to hold the viewers over the commercial break.
How did Pretty Much get their name?
What?
The new boy band, Pretty
You know
Much.
more about Pretty Much than I do?
Maybe I do.
All right, you're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy SiriusXM. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
We're back, and you're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy SiriusXM. Each and every week, we count down the top 10 things that make us go,
wow!
And right before the break, Blake asked us a trivia question, which he's going to repeat, and then we're going to guess the wrong answers.
The question was, how did Pretty Much, James's favorite new boy band, the question is, how did Pretty Much, James's favorite new boy band, get their name?
I think, who's the lead guy?
Brandon.
Brandon says pretty much all the time, so they just got it from Brandon.
See, I was going to say it was probably Zion's catchphrase.
Well, you're both kind of close.
Okay.
You know, one of them is Canadian.
Oh, I'm going to say Austin because that's a Canadian name.
No, Zion is Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Zion.
He said that they used to all, he brought back this Canadian accent, and they would always say pretty much about everything, like I pretty much need to go to the bathroom, and pretty much. So that's how they got their name.
Oh, like every other word is pretty much.
Yeah,
and that's a Canadian thing.
I guess it says that's kind of how the name came about. Zion had this voice that he would always do that he brought back from Canada. We used to say pretty much in every sentence. We'd say pretty much I'm going to go get some food, and pretty much maybe I'll take a bath maybe.
I think we all get a point for that one.
Oh, I think so.
And I think if we had a boy band, we call it Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's move on to the countdown to number 7.
Number 7.
That's you again.
That's me. Last Saturday night, you know, I'm on this campaign, this Trump era, to see as much live theater and live music as possible. And there's this app I'm on called Facebook. Are you guys familiar? And Kristin Chenoweth performing in the Orange County at the Segerstrom Center, which is like the Dorothy Chandler in Orange County. And I was like, I am going to see Kristin Chenoweth. And, you know, I thought she'd be good. I thought she'd fill my soul. Has a nice voice, or used to.
You aren't gonna,
She's amazing.
I was gonna say, by God, yes.
Oh my God! And what I did not know is that she was talking about, you know, the things she's been a part of. She had.
Did she perform anything from Charlie Brown? You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
She did. I forget the name of the song.
Because she was Sally in that, and it's how she got her first Emmy.
Yes, and Tony, exactly. Yeah. But she talks as much as she sings, and normally sometimes that's a problem. She's so charming and so funny and so sweet. And at one point she's like, "How many of y'all know the TV show RuPaul's Drag Race?" And that Segerstrom Center of old people and gay people went crazy.
Yes.
And she goes, "Because Michelle Visage is here." Now,
Wait, you didn't even know Michelle was there?
No, and I thought Michelle was in
Ireland. Yeah,
pushing gold buttons. But she was there. Frankie Grandy was there.
She flew back from Ireland
Probably.
and then for Kristin Chenoweth?
Michelle Visage, one of the judges of RuPaul's Drag Race, is the biggest show queen.
Yes.
Every time I talk to her in the dressing room, she's turning off a show tune or
yeah.
not, depending on how much she wants to talk to me. But Kristin Chenoweth has, you know, she can sing pop, she can sing classic. She has this incredible
just a big voice. Yes.
voice. She, not to speak of the negative, but she does go off on a little bit of a rant about Mariah.
Oh,
how about like Mariah, sing girl, sing. And she says, and she admits that as, you know, sopranos, which Kristin is, she goes, when we get older, our voices aren't as flexible. We lose notes. But she goes, I am learning how to sing through that. She goes, Mariah, you have an incredible gift. Sing. Don't just. So that was kind of fun. But she, and Wicked is one of my favorite shows.
Popular.
Yes.
I know how to be popular.
And she's so sweet because she wasn't Charlie Brown, but like closed before the Tonys.
Right.
She was just like, God, please give me a show that people will know. And she has popular. And she said that thing which I love hearing performers say.
Wicked.
She goes, she was Wicked. She was like, you know, there was a period, because it's been 15 years since Wicked premiered. And she goes, and there was a period in the middle of that, she said, where singing popular felt like a burden. And she's like, you know what? It's the best thing to have your own song.
You know, I remember one time running into Pete Burns backstage, and he said to me that every time the opening notes of "You Spin Me Right Around," he wants to crawl into a ball and just cry. And then I ran into him years later, and he said that he was wrong about that.
They go through that process.
That he learned to embrace it. And I'm thinking, you know, like Judy Garland, where, you know, every night, wherever she went, you know, somewhere over the rainbow when she was old, and like I imagine that it gets a little depressing after a while to have a theme song,
or it's like or you have to make it like a meditation or something, like your mantra that you have to sort of work through it to make noises and things. Speaking of Judy Garland, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, so the very end, she sings, she has an amazing thing. Noah Wiley was there.
Oh,
Is that the actor's
yeah,
name? I guess she did a pilot with him. His wife, who I can't remember her name, forgive me, is a singer. And she goes, oh, my God, I met her. And she was just like me. And we FaceTimed. And she's here. Come on up. And they sang For the Better, which is from, and it was so beautiful and so moving. So there's so many moments and so many laughs and fun. And at the end, you think it's the last song, and she comes back for the encore, which I love. And we're all standing, and she says, I want to sing this last song. This is so special to me, and I want to perform it this way. And she steps away from the mic, and she goes to the curb, the edge of the stage, and she sings with the introduction, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Oh, and there's not a dryer in the house. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was so good. She's performing all over Florida. You have to go to her website, but you have to see Kristin Chenoweth. And Wicked, this is a little footnote about Wicked. Have you seen the
I haven't seen Wicked.
Have you seen it?
I have, yes.
Did you love it?
I did. I was a big fan of the book. I was a huge fan of the book, and I felt like they took some
Sure.
Yeah.
See, I'm so lucky I don't read, so.
Well, the book really changed my life.
I didn't see it on Broadway because I think I was in trouble then, but I did see it when it came here to Pantages, and I've seen it 3 or 4 times since because it just makes me shake. It's so beautiful, and it really is. It's the retelling, as people know, of like what you think.
It's the Wicked Witch of the West, but it's from her point of view.
And as a gay person, I feel like it's absolutely your path, your journey as a gay person, that you think you're awful and wicked and dark, and then you retell the story, and you have to retell your own story, and it's like, I am defying gravity. I'm living by my own terms, and you
defying gravity.
It's
all right.
Oh, see, Blake
somehow the Time's Up thing on camera is really
it
emasculating.
But you also have to realize that Blake hates show tunes, and so you
need to see Wicked. It's not. It's because with all of your Wizard of Oz knowledge, it plays against it in a way that just really tickles your brain.
I mean, I am not a theater queen. For some reason, I didn't get that gene.
You will.
But there are some I would like to see that. Wicked.
It's good.
And like Aladdin, I want to see Aladdin.
I want to see Aladdin too, just because Aladdin looks really hot.
Well, and
all right, we're moving on with the count. Please see Kristin Chenoweth wherever she performs live. Let's move on to number 6, James St. James.
Number 6.
Here we go. I am watching The Alienist on TNT. I don't know if any of you know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
The Alienist is based on a 1994 novel by Caleb Carr. It's a historical novel, and it was sort of in the vein of Ragtime, where it takes place in 1996 or 1896. It takes place in 1896 at the turn of the century in New York City, and it's about these sort of boy prostitutes who they're
I'm in.
Right. They dress as women, and they work at this place called Parisi's Hall, and there's a serial killer who's gutting them and gouging out their eyes and leaving them for the dead on the side of the road.
That's the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Let me see. The Alienist is what they used to call criminal psychiatrists back then.
Okay.
And so there's this alienist who comes to try and solve the case of these boy prostitutes. The problem with the book that I remember, because I read it back in 1994, and people were going bananas for it because it was like the first time there had been like
historical
fiction, like in that sort of vein. And there's the characters have a tendency to walk around and describe themselves, and they did it in this thing too, where at one point in the first episode, these guys come on and they say, the police don't like us because we're modern thinkers, and we're Jews.
Just in conversation with each other?
Just in conversation. Like, they come on, they're like, they don't like us because we're modern thinkers, and we're Jews. And it's sort of like
exposition,
a lot of exposition. Yeah. And I remember in the book too, there was, there would be like 20 pages, and it would be like, her muslin dress had mutton sleeves, and the 52 eyelets of her corset were all, and it's like it just goes on and on and on.
I skip description paragraphs.
Right. Well, Caleb Carr was a historian rather than a novelist.
Okay.
And so he decided to write this book, and he did all this research, and it is just jam packed with information about the turn of the century New York. There really is a real life Parisi's Hall, which is where the saloon / brothel where these little underage prostitutes would dress up as as women and seduce men. And it really happened at the turn of the century. And we did.
Was Lady Bunny part of this? Sorry, Lady Bunny. Just a joke.
Trey Spiegel, who writes for the Wow Report, did a really interesting story for the Wow Report about a month ago about the real life Parisi's Hall. It's on you can go to the blog and check it out. They really were like 14-year-old kids that hadn't gone through puberty yet, so they still were feminine, and their pimps would dress them up as women, and they would prostitute.
Where was this?
This was in New York City.
Okay.
And the description of it makes it sound like any drag bar you would ever go to, where they would call each other, Miss Thing,
yes.
and, like that, and they would go around and they would perform and they acted, really effeminate and everything, and it's sort of fascinating.
I mean, TNT has really stepped it up in terms of.
Isn't Dakota Fanning in this?
Well, Dakota Fanning isn't in this. The Alienist has a young assistant, a teen boy assistant. He has an African American housekeeper, and he has a plucky young woman who works at the police department, who's Dakota Fanning. And the problem with it is they've assigned all these 21st century notions of gender equality and this and that, and there would not have been at the time the empathy for the gay characters that this Alienist is.
But don't you think that makes it palatable to watch?
Well, it does, but it also sort of takes you out of it a little bit, because there is no way that Dakota Fanning is the first woman to work at the NYPD, and she's in charge and this and that, and there's no way that really would have been the case.
Right.
And also the thing is, they've been trying to make this into a TV series for about 25 years, a movie or TV series, but they haven't been able to do it. It's too cost prohibitive. So what they've decided to do is just CGI everything, and it looks like they CGI Dakota's outfit on her, that she's like in a green, like bodysuit, and they just put the mutton sleeves outfit on her.
So are you using your wow for good or for bad? Where's your wow?
It's fascinating to watch, and it's interesting. I wish, like the book itself, they sort of put this whole plot about the teenage drag queen prostitutes in there as sort of to be salacious, and they don't really say anything about gender or sexuality. They aren't really bringing anything new to the table. But it is Luke Evans, who we find very attractive.
Where do we know Luke from?
He was Gaston in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. And Dakota Fanning, and the guy is a German star, Brule something.
And this could be a series. This isn't a limited series. This could go on and on and on.
Well, theoretically, yeah. I mean, Caleb Carr, I think, is involved in it, and it is fascinating just to see, New York at the turn of the century, and Teddy Roosevelt is in it, and everybody sort of makes cameo appearances.
When did they start getting indoor plumbing in New York? When do you think? Like what year?
I would have said, this could be our trivia question. I'm going to say 1850.
When I think of cities without indoor plumbing.
Well, like London, where everyone's throwing the pots in the street.
I don't know why it always goes through my head when I see old movies.
Well, that's why when you're walking down the street, that's why men walk on the inside and the women walk on the outside, because people would be emptying the chamber pots, and the men if the man was walking closest to the window, he would get it on him as opposed to the women, and that's how that was the
gulp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the Alienist.
Which is I'm giving half up wow and half down wow. It's
all right.
You go make up your own mind.
I'm more interested in it now than I was having just driven by the billboard. They don't really say.
No, they don't. They don't give you the
teenage drag queen prostitutes. It's not on the billboard.
No.
So thank you, James. The Alienist is on TNT. Now I lied earlier because we are talking about Kylie's birth. Number 5.
Number 5.
I want to talk about Kylie giving birth.
It's important.
Just for a couple of minutes.
It's interesting because she did it out of view. She didn't thrust her pregnancy into the limelight the way other Kardashians have.
Kylie Jenner announced this week that she's had a baby. She's been hiding. We haven't seen her. The Kardashians are known for putting everything on camera. Kylie at 19
had the wherewithal to pull herself
20,
away from
maybe?
the limelight. Yeah,
pulled herself away. What do you think?
I think it's great that she did it, right?
Are you a Kylie fan?
I am a Kylie fan. I'm a fan of all of them in a certain way.
Sure.
You know, I mean, they are kind of annoying sometimes.
So are we.
But who isn't?
Yeah, no, I know. They are the first family of America.
Chris is my favorite.
Absolutely.
I
love Chris. I think Chris is my
She's
favorite
hilarious.
too. Chris and Chloe.
But Kylie is the one with the style right now, and all the kids. You know, like she's
She's a billionaire with her makeup line.
yeah, she's like the queen of millennials.
Yes, it's
Yes.
true.
And-
you know, everyone thought that she was going to name the child Posey, Mariposa, which is Spanish for butterfly, because she and her boyfriend are obsessed with butterflies.
Travis Scott.
Yeah, then they have songs about butterflies and they have butterfly tattoos, and everyone thought that it would be Mariposa and she would call the baby Posey, and then she went with
Stormy.
based on Stormy Daniels is her idol. So she named it after the porn star Stormy Daniels.
she
Is that
didn't-
true?
She didn't
I
say
might be
that.
making that up.
Who cares?
But she named it
Stormy.
Stormy the same 2 weeks after Stormy Daniels is in the news. Don't you think it's a little coincidental?
She's probably at Cedars and sort of in a fever haze giving birth, and she heard Stormy. That's it.
Well, you also saw she released like an 11-minute video announcing
Yes.
the name, but it like showed her entire pregnancy. So she's been filming this.
Sure.
It'll end
time.
up on the show, no doubt.
Oh my God! Is it like a feature? Kylie
Oh, does
pregnant
she get
in the
her
theater.
own show? You know how?
Well,
remember
she already has her own show.
But it didn't do
Life of
very well.
Kylie.
Didn't do very well. As
It-
comparatively.
It wasn't that good.
Right, because she hides things. But maybe she's the shy Kardashian Jenner. What's the last name of the baby?
Scott. I
Stormy
guess.
Scott. Stormy Jenner.
Stormy Scott. Stormy Scott.
Stormy. I don't mind Stormy. I love that they name their kids weird names.
Well, it's Stormy with an I too. It's not with a
oh,
Y.
now I'm thumbs down.
Well,
on
wait,
Stormy.
fine.
well, how did you feel
I'm
about
fine.
how did you feel about Chicago?
I'm fine with both of them as long as they don't dot the I with a heart.
I wish Chicago. I wish they would nickname her Chic,
That's what I thought too.
but they're nicknaming her Shy.
Shy.
Yeah.
Too
But
shy to shy.
hush, hush, eye to eye.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
too.
We've just picked our song for the way out. Kylie giving birth. Do you think, because young Adam, who's a friend of all of ours, said that
I love that he's young Adam. Like,
he'll always be young Adam to me.
She's like 40 years old now.
Well, I'm 70 then. But young Adam said that he thinks that teen pregnancy is going to go up because Kylie makes it look so good in that video. What do you think of that? Teen
I
mom
hope
Kylie.
not. Because
Because my teenage
She's so
girlfriend.
well, no, I hope not because like Teen Mom, I love Teen Mom the TV show.
Yeah.
And that is really credited for dropping teen pregnancy. Did
It
you know
is.
that?
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yes. So I hope
Because it looks so awful to have a kid.
well, it's just real, I guess.
It's
and I just
hard. It is.
I hope that this doesn't flip back to the way it, you know.
Right, Kylie, the Jenners. Have a baby. Well, we wish Stormy and Kylie and Travis all the best and a healthy, happy life.
Oh, to have lost Posey Jenner.
Well,
hey, she'll have enough.
there's more coming.
Yeah.
Chloe might take Posey. Who knows?
That's true. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, we're going to take another quick break, and I'm going to turn to our producer, Blake, joining us here at the table to give us the trivia question.
Okay, I love this one. Who is Kylie Jenner's godmother?
Oh, it's such a good question.
Oh, I know this.
Do you keep it to yourself? We will find out the answer to that and oh so much more as we continue to count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow, here on the Wow Report. Don't
You know, I
go
did- somebody
anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Tom Campbell here with James St. James, Blake Jacobs. Fenton is away. Fenton, come back. Come back,
We
baby.
miss you,
We miss
Fenton.
you. Right before the break, Blake asked this trivia question. Do you have the answer at driving or at home listening? Blake, what is it?
Who is Kylie Jenner's godmother?
Kylie just had a baby. Her godmother or the baby's godmother?
No,
Kylie.
Kylie's godmother.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea.
I have two ideas, and I'm going to say one is Paris Hilton, and the other is
good.
Carol Bayer Sager.
Oh, so
Ooh,
good.
That's a good one.
I'm going to go because I think this is Kim's godmother. I'm just going to spread it around. I'm going to give two. It's either Kathy Lee Gifford
Oh,
or Faye Resnick.
Oh, I think it's Kathy Lee.
It's Kathy Lee.
Yes!
I remember that's who I saw tweeting about it.
My years of Kathy Lee Gifford
I
obsession
love
have
Kathy Lee
finally
Gifford.
paid off.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, "That's the trivia
I
question."
Do you have
I-
the Kathy Lee Gifford Christmas album?
I have the Christmas album. I have
The
the
one where
regular
she
album.
does Silver Bells with Reach. Reach,
Yes.
you're ruining it.
I have her Christmas book. I miss
Kathy-
Regis and Kathy Lee
I
every single day.
love- yeah.
No offense to Kelly and Ryan. I
Kathy
miss
Lee Johnson
Regis.
is when I. Oh, yeah.
The very beginning when it was a local show. All right. Well, woo, that was exciting. Thank you.
Sorry, we went off on a tangent there.
We're counting down, and right now we're at number 4.
Number 4.
I'll keep this brief, but I want to warn our listeners, if you're driving, pull to the side, because I believe the gay apocalypse is upon us. Ryan Murphy has just announced he's doing a new series with Netflix starring Ben Platt and rumored to also be starring Barbra Streisand
Oh, I heard
and
about
Gwyneth
this.
Paltrow. And it's a musical.
What?
Oh God.
Wait. Gwyneth Paltrow. Do we really need a Gwyneth Paltrow musical, though?
Well,
Can she sing? Do we know?
Gwyneth, she can sing. She was in that movie with Huey Lewis where she's duets.
Huey Lewis in the
Where-
news?
remember she sang
She's a karaoke. She sang
Huey Lewis in the
Cruisin'.
news?
Cruisin'.
Cruise with me.
Wait. Oh, hold on. Nobody's answering this.
Yes.
Huey Lewis of the news?
He was in it. He played like a karaoke player. Gwyneth won an Emmy for her guest starring role
On
in
Glee,
Glee, where she
uh-huh.
met producer Brad Falchuk, who she's now engaged to be married to, who's
Right.
also a producer
Ding,
of
ding,
this show.
ding. It all comes together.
It all does come together. Gwyneth does kind of. Gwyneth might be saving us from the gay apocalypse because, but Streisand is supposedly is
Ben
going to be
Platt.
on, and she's going to direct. Do you remember the last thing that Miss Barbra Streisand
The
directed?
mirror has 2 faces.
Yes! I love that you know
And
that.
it took 14 years for her to do a scene.
We know if a man takes that long, he's a perfectionist. If Barbara does, she's a bitch. Am I right? Am I right, people? So, and she hasn't been in a movie for a bunch of years. She was on The Road Trip. Remember that
Oh,
thing?
I loved that movie.
Oh, good. There was some Instagram post a year ago or so ago where it was like Gaga and Ryan and John Travolta at Barbra Streisand's house. So this thing has been cooking for a while. It's kind of interesting because Ryan Murphy, who's had his home and made his mark at FX and Fox mostly, is now at Netflix. Not only with this, but he's also doing a Nurse Ratched prequel.
I saw that.
With the wonderful, the actress he always works with. Why can't I think of her name?
Yeah.
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson.
is Nurse Ratched. Yeah.
Who's
So-
Nurse Ratchet?
From One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, she's one of the most evil characters in
It was
history,
an
in movie
insane
history.
asylum with.
And she's the evil nurse who sort of makes everybody's lives
Right,
miserable.
yes.
She keeps them all under her thumb.
Oh.
And she's really
sounds good.
Yeah, she's really just one of the most fantastic characters you will ever come across.
But it's
So I don't know whether or not we want to destroy the
But a good evil nurse series will be good. But The Politician revolves around Platt's character Peyton, a Santa Barbara-based rich kid with political dreams, and he will be singing. He will be singing. So, and this is, we live, as much as you think about it. Ryan Murphy, who we love to kind of pick on and make fun of, we're always checking out what he's doing. We're always watching what he's doing. And, most, I guess it's different, but a lot of showrunners have 1 or 2 hits in them. I mean, he did, what was that show about plastic surgery on FX?
Nip Tuck. That was great.
Glee, and then the horror story thing. But he in the hopper right now, he's doing the 80-centric Pose, which is the ball scene.
Right.
Ratched is coming out. And American Crime Story has seasons of Hurricane Katrina and Monica Lewinsky coming out. And Feud 2 is about Prince Charles and Prince Diana. Holy mackerel.
Feud 2 is about Princess Di?
Yes.
Shut
And
up.
911, which I wasn't here to talk about, but that's a huge hit on Fox. Who knew?
yeah.
That's his show too. So anyway, when I do worry about it's sort of like the convergence of all of those gay people in one place could just create a black hole of gayness, and the whole Earth collapses into it.
I worry that it could turn into cop rock a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes I wonder, musicals are a hard thing to do, and unless he devotes all his time and energy to making it right, if he sort of half-asses it, it could be a mess.
Well, would you call Glee a musical?
Yes.
Okay.
But you think Miss Barbra Streisand's going to let him half-ass it? I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So keep your feelers out for the gay fabulous musical, The Politician, coming on Netflix sometime in our near future. Okay, what do we have now at number 3?
Number 3.
James.
Well, I fell into a hula hole the other day.
A hula hole.
My hula hole. And I was watching. I decided out of the blue on Saturday morning that I was going to watch every single episode of Dark Shadows.
How long have you been up at this point?
Well, that's a whole other thing. But I decided that I was
The TV series.
The TV series.
The soap opera.
The soap opera.
The really badly acted, slow-moving soap opera.
Acted, slow-moving. The one that's famous for when the door closes, the entire wall shakes, and you can see the boom hanging in the thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was a Scottish soap opera. I thought that it was British. It actually was filmed in Scotland in the 1960s. It's weird because it stars mostly Americans. Joan Bennett.
It's not
Joan
Scottish.
Bennett.
Joan Bennett.
Yeah, Joan Bennett. Joan Bennett is
she's Elizabeth Collins.
Yeah, she's the matriarch of the Collins family.
I haven't seen it on Hulu, but I remember it from watching it as a 4-year-old.
Yes, and Barnabas
Scared
Collins
the
is the
shit out of me.
vampire who comes back and
To Collinswood.
To Collinswood. And remember Willie Loomis.
Yes, he was the grave digger. He'd steal bodies from the grave.
And I had such a crush on him. I loved me some Willie Loomis, boy. Oh, and then there's Victoria. Remember the nanny?
My name is Victoria Winters. That's how every episode would start. She was the nanny, and she was the good girl caught in this terrible, evil place, Collinswood.
Yes, and you forget that there are multiple storylines going on. You think that it's all just Barnabas Collins, and it isn't, because was it Clint was the werewolf? No, Quentin was the werewolf.
Yes.
There was a little ghost girl.
Yes.
There was Angelique when they all went back into time.
She was the incredible witch.
Yes, she was the witch. There's all these things.
They also built Adam.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Julia? Julia was the scientist.
I love
this intense
Julia.
actress who's something Grayson. Or Grayson Hall, I think is her name.
Grayson Hall.
And she's this incredible They all had
It was like they were silent movie actors.
Yes,
and
they were trying so hard. But she really picked up bodies. She sewed them together. She made a Frankenstein monster, which somehow freed Barnabas of his curse of vampirism.
Yes.
And there was a quote that if Adam dies, Barnabas Collins returns as he was before. And my brother said that to me every day for about 20 years growing up. And I used to have nightmares and see in the shadows of the woodwork of my door, I would see Adam. I don't know why. That Dark Shadows had a huge impact on me as a child.
I know. But revisiting it in my 50s is slightly different than when I was 14 watching it. It's very, very slow. I also then segued into, it was a perfect segue, I went into Mary Tyler Moore.
Boo-doo-doo-doo.
I know, I think you're going to hear, yes. I did season 3 of Mary Tyler Moore.
Good season.
It's a good season. I didn't realize how big her hair was for the 70s. She had giant mod hair.
Skinny gal, big hair.
It was Kenneth, I think, would fly in to do it because Kenneth was the one who did all the society hairdos.
Now, because I've revisited that. Actually, speaking of Ryan Murphy, when young Adam introduced me to American Horror Story the first season, and we binge watched it, and we'd watch it at night, and I'd be so scared I'd have to watch the Mary Tyler Moore show to detoxify. That holds up. Am I right?
Well, here's the thing about it, because then I also was watching The Bionic Woman. I had like a real...
How long was Saturday morning?
It was long. But anyway, the thing that I noticed about 60s and 70s television, which especially Mary Tyler Moore, was how much they packed into a half an hour. There was multiple plot lines.
Yes.
There was costume changes. There are days that it's over the course of days. There's dialogue. There's plot.
They were also probably 27 minutes long versus 22 now.
They were. They were a lot. They were a little bit longer, but it interests me because I was wondering to myself, at what point did it turn from being like these no-coward, small plays into what we have now, this modern television? And I was thinking that the turning point was the 1980s. It was MTV sort of brought a visual style.
That could be.
It opened everything up, and in the 90s is when the directors of the 80s videos started segueing and moving into television and movies, like Russell Mulcahy and people
I
like
also
that.
think old generation. I mean, obvious, but people die. Like when I watch the old Ed Sullivan shows of the Supremes or something, I feel like people who fought in World War I were watching that.
Yes.
You know, and my mother's and father's generation, they were like Kennedy. Like they believed like Jacqueline Kennedy. Like education was good. Like knowing about France was a smart thing. You know, they had a certain hunger for improving themselves and for knowledge, and even though they were very, you know, middle class people. And I feel like all that kind of gets junked now. It's like I want to be as dumb as possible.
Well, I also agree with that, but I think that a lot of that was like that Noel Coward thing, where it was like when the talkies first came in, and everybody like tried to cram as much talking as they could.
Yes.
It was like the 30s was very like that,
Like our show.
Yes, but then Blake said to me the other day that he thought the change came with the Seinfeld in the episodes about nothing, and all of a sudden everybody started saying, well, we don't really have to have, you know, densely packed, plotted.
I am going to blame the dumbing down of sitcoms on the facts of life. Period. We ended there.
Good God.
Season 1 or every season
Season
after?
2 on. Season 2 on. Okay. I'm just teasing. We're just running out of time. I'm feeling Blake's under the table wrap it up, and I want to move on in our countdown to number 2, Blake.
Number 2.
I just want to talk a little bit about Justin Timberlake's Super Bowl special.
We can't
thing.
stop talking about it all week.
We can't stop the music. Well, James, what did you think about it?
I have a complicated relationship with Justin. I don't like him. I think he's a smug son of a bitch.
Same.
I think he's full of himself.
Same.
And I think that the backlash was just desserts.
Me too.
I think it's been coming a long time. I think there have been a couple times where he got a VMA award and everybody was like, he's the best thing since, you know,
Sliced bread.
Yeah, since Fred Astaire, he can sing, he can dance, and everyone was gushing. And then all of a sudden, the Janet started trending on, on Twitter. Justice for Janet was the hashtag, and everybody was like, wait a minute. He does do a lot of really fucked up things, and maybe he doesn't deserve, and maybe during this Me Too feminist moment, maybe it would have been good to have a Divas Live thing where we bring on the women that we love. Maybe, maybe it's time for an openly gay Adam Queen and Adam.
I know exactly what you mean. Lambert.
Yeah, maybe we need to bring Adam Lambert on. Maybe it should have been a Lance Bass special. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was just wrong to have this cis white man up there feeling his oats and doing everything.
And then the first song he does is Rock Your Body and ends right before that, Gonna Have You Naked by the end of the song, and smiles the smirk, and it's just like, how dare you?
How dare you?
Devil's advocate, I do think sometimes we all sit, and I'm guilty of this too, on the edge of our couch waiting for the halftime show, waiting to attack it. Do you remember how people were like, Madonna's old and she stumbled, and you watch play that back, and it's a work of art. It's like the movie, Cleopatra. And I feel like poor Justin really went through it, but I will say there was for whatever reason, man, there was a backlash. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, there was a backlash.
I just don't think he deserved it.
No, he's a very talented young man. There's no taking
but he
that
hasn't
away.
had any. I guess that
He's got the new
Trolls
album
thing, but
with the most.
No, but he does have a backlog of amazing
huge
songs.
hits.
Yeah, he has 20 years of hits.
Was part
that
of
he
it
can bring to it.
the way it was produced? Because at first I thought there was some review. It's also this.
I have to admit I didn't watch it, so I can't really. I don't.
Thank you. No, you are America. You are America. I didn't see it and I hated it. It is also
Lord.
I was gonna say this whole thing has become an incredible stimulus for a lot of creative writing. Vulture, a lot of things that everybody has written about it. And there was one quote I forget where it may have been from Vulture, and they said that it starts off and it's in this little cramped space, and it looks like the least popular karaoke bar in Minneapolis or something. But it's very intimate.
Oh, the Prince thing though is where the real backlash starts.
Right. And what did you think of it when you saw it, James? But
how dare he is what I said.
I mean, it was crammed in. I only remember feelings, and I guess where it went a little soft for me is there wasn't a great moment. I also played back Beyonce's. And do you remember when Destiny's Child popped through the floor?
Yes.
Michelle, boom, can you handle this? Kelly, boom, can you handle this? That was a moment.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, but that's the other thing too, is he had a moment there where he could have brought Britney onto the stage, and that would have been the world would have just gone bananas.
Died.
He could have brought NSYNC on. He could have brought in who else?
Timberlake.
He could have brought in Pretty Much, the new boy band that everyone's talking about.
Lana Del Rey.
Who was almost kidnapped. We're doing a recap here.
But the fact that he didn't, and he thought that he was good enough to do it on his own, it just I'm not there.
Well,
and especially because all the NSYNC boys were in Minneapolis and they were spotted around town, lending credence to the
They were probably
theory.
like in the hotel lobby, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
Waiting
1,
for
2,
the
3,
call.
1, 2, 3.
Any minute he's going to call me.
Bye.
There's still 3 minutes. He can call me.
Well, it was a bad week for Justin Timberlake. I, for one, hope he bounces back, and I think he will. But anyway, when we come back, we're out of time. I'm sorry. When we come back, we are going to reveal the #1 thing this week that made us go, wow. And you're not going to want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. Listen to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
All right, we're back. This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM. I'm Tom Campbell here with James St. James, here with Blake, our producer turned on-air, star.
Personality.
I'm worried for Fenton. He'll come back next week. Maybe. But we have been counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow, this week. And now we're at the coveted moment, or whatever, the anticipated moment, #1.
#1.
Miro uno.
Celebrity Big Brother US on CBS.
Here we go. Why don't we give us the rundown of everybody who was in the house?
Two quick things. I don't really watch Big Brother, so you have to help me.
I
watched
love
this
it.
one.
I don't watch Big Brother
I'm a
either.
super fan.
Yeah.
And it seems like a very cool show. And 2, I'm supporting it because Ross Matthews, our judge from RuPaul's Drag Race, is in the house.
And Marissa Jarrett Whittaker.
I love Marissa very much. She could come in second, but Ross has to win.
Yes,
so anyway,
he does.
Having said that, I think the big cast surprise and ratings getter is Omarosa.
Yes.
Well,
From the White House to the Big Brother house. Come on.
But I do want to say I love like the psychological warfare she is. Like when she arrives in the ball gown and she sort of is swooping around.
Don't you think that she signed on because they were like, you'll be the star, and that's why
for sure.
she had she was sitting on the desk with the gorgeous.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, all of that is like psychologically just fucking with everyone else because everyone else is like in sort of spandex and jeans and this and that, and she comes in and she is just painted to the gods, and she really is in it to win it.
Celebrity Big Brother, it strikes me that it's camp by straight people. It's very campy, but it's like straight people producing it.
Yeah.
It's not terrible to say.
No, I love it. I love it. It's so fun every year, and I loved last night. Did you watch last night?
I watched the whole thing.
They had all the Big Brother people come out
which I didn't know who they were. You didn't see the end. The first challenge. The challenges are crazy. They had to hug these sort of like award-shaped mannequins, and then they were lifted off the ground, and then they were poured with glue and glitter and things, and whoever could hold on the longest won. But, and I have to talk about this
And
for a
who
second.
won?
Well, Shannon
Elizabeth.
The women, these sports guys fell off because it's Meta World Peace,
Chuck Liddell.
It's Miss
Miss
Universe, Miss Columbia.
I do think we need to just go through everybody.
All right. Well, okay. Omarosa we talked about. Mark McGrath.
From Sugar Ray.
A
One
lot
of the
of
most
work.
smarmy people on
He
the
does
planet.
look like he had a lot of work.
And Shannon Elizabeth from American Pie looks great.
yeah.
She seems like she knows what she's doing, and she might be one of the dark horses in the race.
Meta World Peace
Now,
in sports. I don't know him.
He even said he didn't know what Big Brother was
Good for
in the
him.
beginning.
Brandy Glanville.
I like
I
Brandy.
love her.
Kind of built for this kind of show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she really is one of those people that like I would normally not like, but there's just something about her that like I think like I would have fun hanging out with her.
Yes,
Well,
you
I
would.
want her and Omarosa to get in a big fight.
Oh, it'll happen. James Maslow.
Oh my God, James Maslow from Big Time Rush,
Which is a
Nickelodeon
boy band, okay.
Yes, I love him.
He's cute. He's cute.
But I mean, he's really smarmy, and when he does those little winks at the camera and stuff, did you notice that?
Well, that's how they produce the show, though. It's all like the interviews. Saturday Night Live just recently did a sketch about how they do interviews, and then I thought, wow, what's going to happen next? And then, they're so scripted.
He has been through
Yes.
pop star training.
And then Keisha Knight Pullman, who of course was Rudy Huxtable. Marissa Jarrett Winokur, who we do love, who was from Hairspray.
Yeah.
The show she was on was Not Today, Bianca.
Not Today, Bianca.
Some specials we did for Logo. Ariadna Gutierrez, who's Miss Universe for 2 minutes, Miss Columbia.
Who got it taken away from her.
I couldn't help but think of Valentina from RuPaul's Drag Race, who played her in Snatch Game. Like, why? And then Chuck Liddell, another sports guy.
UFC.
Who has been on Celebrity Apprentice and Dancing with the Stars. Wow. And Ross Matthews, who to me, I love reality television. We make it, and while it's entertaining, it is a platform. You know, not so people get rich on reality TV, but it's a platform to make people more famous, to make more money. And Ross, everyone if people don't know who Ross Matthews is, he may be one of the most famous people on this cast. They will know and be reminded how much they love him. I love Ross Matthews,
and he seems like he's doing quite well for himself. I loved his little Palm Springs home, and he wore that really marvelous jacket in the beginning when he was talking.
Oh, all his clothes have been great, but I mean, even the Big Brother house is a little tacky, isn't it?
Well, it always is.
Very tacky.
But go ahead.
And what the fuck was Julie Chen wearing? Can we just talk about that red tunic dress? Like, what the hell was that?
You mean the wife of Les Moonves, who we're trying to sell shows to at the wonderful network CBS?
But she should, if she's the wife of Les Moonves, she should have access to real couture. What was that? It was terrible.
It had a little poof at the bottom or something.
It was just the
Well, girls, I hate to bring this party to a crashing close, but we need to move on to
That
Resistor.
is your job, actually, to crash each thing. We need to move on to the final moment, the Resistor of the week. I wanted to say Nancy Pelosi because of her filibuster.
That 8 hours in heels.
I wanted to say Chris Long, the eagle who's not going to the White House, Howie Long's son, who does great charity, gave us a whole paycheck to charity this week. Wonderful guy. But Blake wins because he said the Resistor of the week is the wind. The wind beneath Donald Trump's weave. If you haven't seen it, we'll put it on the WOW Report. But
it's been on the WOW
Report. There's
a
huge bald spot, like the comb over and the hair up here. Nothing exists in back. He's Skeletor
I don't
in back.
think anything exists from here all the way back. I think it's all just the sides that he just keeps plastering over on top and in back, and the double panels is just crazy.
But and in a week of horrible, awful, continuous political stuff, it's just fun to make fun of Donald Trump's appearance,
and
isn't
we shouldn't
it?
feel bad about it because he makes fun of
of
anyone.
Anyone, yes.
All right. Well, what
What's
a great
good for
show.
the goose is good for the
Fenton,
gander.
come back soon next week. Thank you guys. I felt like I was off this week, but I'll work around it with therapy.
Thank you.
But I want everyone to listening to tune into the Trixie and Katya show Wednesdays at 10:30 in Viceland. I want you to watch RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 3 every Thursday at 8 p.m. on VH1, and come on down to RuPaul's Drag Con in LA at the LA Convention Center. It's a lot of fun for families and everybody. May 11th, 12th, and 13th, and you can get your tickets at RuPaulsDragCon.com.
Well, wait a minute. Freak Show is still on video on demand.
Plug it, baby.
Freak Show, video on demand.
Yeah.
Go, yay. Oh
Watch it. It's amazing.
And 17 cities.
And Blake will be at the Eagle in Silver Lake this Saturday night drinking beer by the bar.
Please don't come up to me.
All right. Until next time, everybody listening, everybody watching, go out and do something that makes the world go wow. Bye.